What's up, everybody? Bradley Flowers here with this week's episode and our first episode of The Power of Positivity. This is an episode this is a show where we're gonna talk about people who are doing positive things in the community, in other people's lives, and in their businesses. I'm proud and happy to be joined by Jeff Roberts with Yellowhammer Coffee, one of my favorite people in the entire world. Let me say that again.
Dude, that intro, no, we're leaving it. It was amazing. Best
Thunder.
intro I've ever had.
This is going to be a little bit different than some of the other stuff you guys have seen me do. Usually we're stationary in one spot. This, we're trying to find a different place to shoot every single week. This week we're at City Hope of Mobile, recommended by Jeff here. So Jeff, for the three people out there that don't know who you are and don't know Yellowhammer Coffee, give us a backstory.
Yeah, totally. So we are a coffee shop. We started, by the way, it's raining right now, so the lighting you're seeing is lightning. The thunder you just heard right now is thunder, which is amazing. And I was going to make the joke and be like, oh, it's Mobile. It's always raining. Yeah. But it hasn't rained in like 6 months. I know. So
I was talking to a buddy in Arizona on the way here.
Wait, so that would have been a bad joke. Hold up. Nope. There's my joke right there. Okay, can I explain? 2 seconds. Bradley and I were talking podcasts the other day.
Like 3 days ago.
Yes, he said, have you seen the Roadcaster? I said, what are you talking about? He sent me a link, and it was game over, and so now we have a new toy that we're trying to
I sent you the link, and you were still skeptical.
Dude, yeah.
And then I saw you 24 hours later, and he yelled from the truck like, you changed my life. And you would not be the first person to say that, but you would be the first positive one. Speaking of positivity.
Everything is true. Okay, so we started a coffee company. Yellowhammer Coffee started in a truck, or a trailer. Mm-hmm. And so kind of wanted to do that.
Did you always have a passion for coffee?
Man, I've had a passion for coffee since college. I worked at Starbucks in college, and that really showed me kind of the community, the culture, the vibe, it just kind of, once you kind of get into coffee, you kind of get the coffee bug, And so it's just always kind of been there. And then business ownership has always been in the back of my mind for forever, So, yeah, it's just the itch, man. And I was like, I just didn't know what I was going to do, didn't know what I was going to do. A lot of you guys watching, you feel the same way. You felt the same way. I mean, you're like, what am I supposed to do?
It kind of manifests in your head. It does. And eventually it's like you have no other option.
Right, yeah, literally. So I that's a good way to put it, because I literally got to the point where
it's like I've got to do this just to shut the voice in my head up.
That was it. I mean, I was either going to do this and fail and be okay in life, or I was never going to do it and hate myself for forever. And so I literally, when it got to that option, I was like, I don't have a choice. Like, we have to try to do this, and it's probably going to fail. And I mean, I told my whole team that. I still tell them that. I'm like, yo, we can still fail. And they're like, I'm like, dude, like nothing's forever. But I had to get to the point where, yeah, you're right. You described it exactly right.
If you convince yourself that it's not going to work, but at the same time you're scratching the itch, if it works, you're ultimately pleasantly
I can't believe this.
Surprised.
Right. And if it doesn't work, you scratch the itch and you're good. You can sleep at night knowing that you gave it everything you had.
Yeah.
And that was really where I had to get to,
Cool.
So yeah,
cool.
It was cool.
So things have taken off. You guys have how many employees?
Yes.
Now? Or what year are you in?
So we're in year 3. Okay. So we just had our third birthday. Do you know when our birthday is? July 3rd.
July 3rd.
She knows.
How do you not remember
that's
that?
Jenny over there. Dude, bro, I literally don't even one day at a time.
So you're year 3.
Year 3.
Year 3. How many employees?
Oh, geez. 25, 27,
that's
something
insane.
like that. It's nuts. So we started with 1.
I have 5, and I'm like, how do people manage more than this?
It's a full-time. It's literally a full-time gig. So
that's all you do.
That's it. That's literally it. So we started with 1 trailer, went to 2 trailers. Then we had a brick-and-mortar opportunity just kind of present itself. So we signed in on that. And as you're watching this, when are we going to drop this?
Probably no more than 2 weeks out.
Oh, as you're watching this, more than likely we will have already signed a lease for location number. We call location number 4. But it's really...
Is that hot off the press?
It's hot off the press.
I didn't know that.
But that's like brick and mortar number 2. But trailers are locations to us too. This one's... Oh, man.
Give us an idea. Give us a hint.
Okay.
Give us a hint.
The dilemma I'm in right now is as soon as I tell you, everyone's going to be pissed because they're going to be like, no, because it's not... We're trying really hard to get in an area in Tillman's Corner. We're really trying hard.
Yeah.
So we got those conversations going and Westmobile and a lot of other places. This one's going to be in Sims. So I know the feedback's going to be, they've already got one. Put it somewhere else. We're sorry. It was an opportunity.
What's the church there you're at?
We're at Bay City Church.
Bay City Church.
And we're just in their parking lot. But that's right across from MGM. This spot is right on the, if we don't sign the lease, you can just edit all this out.
Yeah.
And if we do, who cares? Or if we don't, it doesn't matter. So this new spot is Schillinger and Moffitt.
Okay.
And so it's a new spot right there.
There's a lot of traffic there.
A lot of traffic. So, but we're seeing it as a 3-in-1 thing. So this is going to be storage for us, which we desperately need. We move thousands of pounds of product a week. It's going to be an office space, which I've been looking at. I mean, I've talked to Marcus Netto.
Yeah.
Like, I've talked to some other guys like, hey, man, can I rent a spot? Like, because we do so much work and so many meetings. So it's going to be an office spot. And then, hey, it's like, hey, we also sell coffee here too. So
yeah,
it's got a cool drive-through. It's got a cool setup. It's a really cool building. It's got a little too much space than what we're used to in the front, but like we're gonna have to figure that out because that's not really our model. Well, and it's not really our model. Like I don't really want the hang. Like I
don't want people coming using free Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
and air.
like, and that's okay. But I send people that want to meet. I send them to Carpe Diem and I send them to Nova and to Chaleur. I'm just like, there's other places that are really great. Yeah, dude, all friends. But there's a lot of places that are really good for that. We're kind of the very fast like, man, grab your cup of coffee, in and out. That's just our model.
Like us, who are like, go,
yes.
go.
Yeah. You got to zip the drive-through when you're gone because you have a meeting.
Yeah.
And so that's really our model. So it's going to be a little different for us. So we'll get there and we'll see.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's awesome. News. So when you guys drop this.
Breaking news. So,
breaking news right here.
So you 25 employees, you said? 22, 20-ish?
25, 27.
You're going to let some people go this afternoon.
Yeah, we got to have some conversations. No, dude, honestly, with the store, though, we're going to be 10 more deep. Yeah. We'll be running 40 in a month or two.
Talk about, you guys have an impeccable culture.
I wouldn't say impeccable.
Talk about
that's really generous.
Talk about the importance of laying that foundation. Yep. And I ask this selfishly because I'm in the process of doing that. But talk about the importance of laying that foundation, which leads to a good culture. Man. Because sometimes, culture is, I think, painted with this broad stroke of everything's peachy and smelling the roses.
Yep, totally.
But in the beginning, you have to do some work that may even be counterintuitive to a good culture. So talk a little bit about that.
And I wouldn't even say in the beginning. I think you always have to be doing that work.
Finding the right players.
Constantly. Yes, dude. So there's several books that I recommend. One is called Good to Great. And in that book, he talks about it's really the leader's heart. So when the leader's like, oh, it's all about me, usually not super healthy culture. The companies that went from good companies to great companies, the leaders were very low key. Man, and when it went right, they were like, it's you guys. You are why it went right. And when it goes wrong, they're like, it's freaking me. It's my fault. You know what I mean? And so, man, just good leaders, really, he calls it level 5 leaders. And when you read the book, you're like, oh, man, like I'm like, I read it and I'm like, oh, I'm probably a level 3 or a 4. No. When I read the book, I'm like, I'm barely a level 1. Yeah. Like I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel with like the type of leadership so I'm growing as a person. I mean, we have to be moving and growing because if I'm the same leader I am in 3 years from now, Yellowhammer will be 2 trailers in a store. You know what I mean? So you just have to constantly grow. But man, our culture is it's a culture of very high expectations. And I keep looking over to my right because one of our team members is here. We're shooting a podcast after this called Inside the Hammer, which we're diving into more of this. Sorry, I didn't mean to do a shameless plug.
I think you should do back of the hammer.
I didn't mean to do a shameless
plug.
Back
of the truck.
It timed out perfectly. That worked.
People are going to listen to the second and third episode of this show when we don't have this and be like, where are the sound effects at? What?
So we have really high expectations.
Yeah.
And we have really hard conversations. And but man, I think at the end of the day, people know that we care about them more than we care about the business. And I mean that, man. I'm like, if this isn't right for you, like I want to find the thing that is right for you more than I want to just say you're fired, get out. You know what I mean?
What do you use to combat the hard conversations though? Like what
do you mean?
Like you have the hard conversations, but what do you do on the other side to make sure that you're not always on someone's tail?
Correct. And Jen can tell you this.
Because I'll tell you with me, one of my biggest faults as a leader is I
encourage.
I over-encourage. And actually, Gary Vee said this, but I'm not saying that because he said this. My wife was like, that is you too. I over-encourage, and I don't have the hard conversations. Sure. And when I fire people, they're like,
wow, you told me I was the best
thing ever. You just hit me by a truck, right, So what do you use to combat that? Because part of me is like, I want to be critical of people, but at the same time, I don't want to get down on themselves.
And I forget what the scale is. Like, psychology tells you for every 7 or 5 what is
4
that?
to 1 or
4 to
something
1, something like that.
I'd
Like
heard
4
something the other day.
positives, 1 correction, whatever. I don't really care about any of that. Anytime anybody says anything positive, the first thing I do is communicate it. So we get tons of these like internal Square reviews. So Square's our POS. So if you come by from me, they'll send you an email that says, hey man, how was your experience?
Yeah.
99% of the time people write something that's like, dude, it was amazing.
That's
like
great.
The product was awesome, but the people are incredible. Your team members, so blah,
I
blah,
didn't
blah,
realize
right?
Square
So,
did that. That's
dude,
awesome.
so we have an internal, we use When I Work, the app, to schedule our employees and people that are showing up. So I try to screenshot as much as I can and send it to the team. And sometimes I'll write a comment like, y'all, look at this. Like, they're saying what our mission is. So they're saying, hey, great product, but more than that, like unbelievable customer service. And that's our mission statement. I mean, it's amazing coffee with unmatched customer service. That's all we do. That's literally the only thing we do. And so I try to encourage. I mean, Google reviews, I'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll screenshot them, put them in. Great job, you guys. Amazing job. Y'all, this is awesome. But anytime anyone leaves a negative, like one time someone left a negative about a product that was being made, I went back and pulled the footage on the camera, and then I gave my thoughts to their comment. You know, they're like, hey, this is super light, and I hated it. So I looked at everything from interaction to product pouring to out the window. And so I wasn't just like, you guys suck, you're the worst. I literally said, hey, I said a couple thoughts. Customer service was amazing. I'm like, y'all, the way that he interacted with that customer, on point. I'm like, there was a little bit of some technicalities in the pour that made it light. She asked for it to be no foam, but it made it foam. So I'm like, I saw the mistake there, but I'm like, but the handout was amazing too. So I'm like, just make sure we're dialing in our craft and what we're doing, you know? And so even when I correct, I tried to be like, I tried to look at the whole picture instead of just bombing them and just being like, what the crap, you guys? Like, what's going on, you know? And so that was kind of our, I don't know, man, but sometimes I'm like, hey, this isn't cutting it. Or it's always on them, right? So I'm like, you don't seem like you're enjoying it here. How can I help? You know what I mean? And like, this might not be your thing. And so I think that's one thing that I naturally do. I'm never like, I think you suck.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a very brutal conversation. And to me, it's a little unfair. So it's never like, I think you're the worst.
Because there's always a reason for everything.
There is. And so I'm always like, I've noticed that you don't seem to have a lot of energy. I've noticed that you seem to be complacent. I've noticed that this might not be working for you. What are your thoughts? And usually, man, 9 times out of 10, they'll spill it. And they're like, man, you're right. My home life's been a little messed up. Or, man, I'm not getting sleep at night because of this situation. Or I'm not doing that. And I'm like, all of that's great. But we have a job that we have to perform. And so sometimes just bringing it up, usually 90% of the time, boom, problem solved. And sometimes it's not, you know? And then sometimes our team members choose to bow out, which is okay too. They're like, you know what? I think he's right. I don't think this is for me anymore. And dude, I'm telling you, if you're listening to this and you're involved in any type of, even if you're HR, even if you're a business owner, whatever, if you can learn to celebrate people, even when you disagree, and just let them go in such a healthy way, it's the number one thing I think we've done right. And I mean that, y'all. Like we've had really tough conversations, and some people leave, but we always celebrate them. Like, I'm never like, man, they're the worst, you know?
Yeah.
Man, we celebrate people on the way out, and I've had 3 or 4 people quit us, go experience corporate America, and
be
come
like
back. I mean, it's crazy, dude. Like, just because of the way they felt when they left, because they didn't feel like a failure. They didn't feel like they didn't add up. Like, they didn't feel that way. They just felt celebrated from us, and I celebrated the decision for them to try something else. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know, man. That's just a little bit of our culture, and just kind of how we run things.
What do you do to maintain it?
Man, okay, so right now I'm trying this new thing because we're always testing, we're always trying. Because if I could do anything in life, I would sit down with every single person that works for us every single day. Yeah. And I would just talk. Like, how's your life? How are you doing? What are your goals? What do you want to do? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, I would literally do that and do nothing else. Yeah. That would be it. Unfortunately, as you know, 25 people, I just can't do it. Yeah. So I'm trying this new thing to where I've bought, 20 books or so that have impacted me. One's Good to Great. One's Patrick Lencioni, The Advantage. 5 Dysfunctions. I mean, so I'm rolling some Seth Godin. Got a ton of Seth in there. And so I'm literally saying, telling you the storm's amazing. So I'm literally saying.
That was God saying no to Seth Godin.
Well, yeah. He's like, dude, get Seth out of there. So we've, so like they just signed the books out. So I'm like, hey, read it if you do. If you don't, like it's cool. Whatever you want to do, right? So people that have initiative, they're grabbing it, they're signing them out, they're reading it, and then as soon as they're done, they text me and we hang out. And I'm like, what did you learn? But it's not. Cool. But it's not just like, okay, let's go to school. because obviously in that conversation, how's your life? What's going on?
I've talked to people who work for bosses before that had like a forced
Yes.
book club.
Me too.
And they're
Me
all
too.
like,
yep, totally.
you know,
they
like,
hate it.
yeah.
So, dude, but man, I had one of our team members is Brandon. He grabbed, what was it? I think it was The Advantage. Dude, he could not stop reading it. He read it in a day. I mean, he literally, like, it lit something in him. And he was like, dude, this is unbelievable. And, like, those are the kind of fires that I'm trying to light.
Him.
Yeah, you probably do. Like, super, super cool guy.
Yeah.
You know, kind of skinny. Super cool. He's going to be on the Inside the Hammer soon.
Cool.
Just super cool guy, but, like, it just lit a fire in him, man. And he's like, this is, but I loved it because it wasn't like, oh, here's textbook. He was like, we kind of run our culture like this. You know, he's like, this is kind of what we do. You know, and so that's what I wanted him to see. And then, of course, there's a lot we can learn from books too, and we can always get better and all that stuff. But
what do you do? You know, you mentioned you're always constantly changing and testing. You know, with us in my business, I'm doing that as well. You know, I have the I guess advantage of working for a big corporation,
right?
And
Sure.
I was on some teams and some committees inside the organization to help with changes in technology and things like that.
Yep.
And one of the biggest frustrations for me is how slow moving it was. And like it would take us 18 months to implement a piece of technology. Well, now here at Portal, I'm like, you know, one of the proudest moments of my career, I said this on a piece of content a few weeks ago. We had an employee who missed a week of work.
Okay.
When she came back, it took us 45 minutes to update her on everything that had changed and she'd been gone.
Dang.
Now, whereas that may be great for me, sometimes employees want things to just stay the same.
Yep.
So how do you get them to buy into the changes?
Part of it, I think when we make changes, it's for the most part positive.
Yeah.
And I think that they're like, man, this makes sense. Like a change I'm really been working on for a month now or two is we're trying to get a printer system. So when Bradley comes to the shop, you say, hey, I want a non-fat iced vanilla 3-shot latte, right? So then I punch in your order on an iPad, and then I hit send, and then I take the cup, and I write the exact same thing that I just punched in, and then I send it down the line, right? So we're doing the work twice. And so what I'm trying to do is get a system that prints it. So we do the work once on the iPad, we hit done, boom, prints a sticky thing, throw it on the thing, done, goes down the line, because that would save us literally half the time. And so, but I think that change makes sense to everybody, right?
Yeah.
The changes that are hard for us are like recipe changes. When we're like, yo, we've been making this drink this way, but we need to modify it by half an ounce or an ounce. We need to go to this pour, or it actually does need a full shot, or it needs 2 shots. That's when everyone's like, like, because they learned it one way, and now we're messing with their brain. And so those are a little bit more tougher to implement, but those are calls we make just based on feedback, based on how we're feeling about it. Like,
I think you have to explain to them why you're doing
correct
things. And that's one of the things I think that a big organization will make an error of is here's a change, we're not going to explain to you why,
right.
And a lot of times it's because they don't want you to know why.
Yeah, we're a pretty open book, man. And I mean, like, I keep using Jen just because she's sitting right there, but like I feel like we're pretty like, you know, sometimes in culture, like people, even with this deal we're doing with the new lease and the new building, people are like, oh my gosh, I heard we might be getting a new store. Oh my gosh, I heard like, oh, I don't think we're supposed to say anything, or I don't think. So I'm always like, guys, there are no secrets. There's just a lot of conversations. So people hear all kinds of crazy stuff, dude. I mean, you wouldn't believe the stuff people have told me inside our business about what I'm doing. I'm literally like, I had no idea I was meeting with them. I'm like, wow. I
had no idea I was doing that.
I'm like, that's amazing. Like, dude, if I could meet with that person, that'd be incredible. But like, people are just, you know, but it's part of it's human nature, right? And so I think I have to constantly remind our culture, like, guys, there are no secrets here. We just have a million conversations, and maybe 2 of those are going to land into something. Right. So maybe 2's going to land into a store, or 2's going to land into a new recipe, or a new product that we're using. Like,
thinking outside the box,
dude. Literally, you know. So we're shifting brands right now. We're shifting from one product to another product. So we found a better product. We like it. It's actually healthier, and so we're shifting across the board. But like, you know, but sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, they're testing this, or is this a new drink, or what is this? But it's so it's just all changes, but I think it makes sense to most of our guys, you know? Any time, and I tell our guys this, I'm like, if anytime you have any questions, or you think we're being sneaky or hiding something or not telling you everything, I'm like, call me. Like, we can talk about it. Like, I'll explain it to you, you know? And so, anyway.
Take a couple minutes and talk about One Wheel.
Oh my gosh,
Just
dude.
through a curveball.
Is this where we can like roll the promo for One Wheel? Hey kids, want to have fun outside?
It's like the Zach Galifianakis Between the Two Ferns with Hillary Clinton, and
Yes,
he plays the Donald Trump commercial in the middle. He's like, all right, now we're back.
It might as well be at this point. Okay, so I'll just keep this super brief.
Yeah.
So see this product online. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. Find one used out of Atlanta. Buy it, ride it, love it. Kids ride it, love it. I'm like, this is kind of a family, like, this is something I can do in Mobile. I can't snowboard in Mobile. I could longboard, I guess, but I'm not that cool.
Can't really skateboard.
Can't really skateboard. I mean, it's kind of one of those, like, So I literally, we start buying it. And then I'm always thinking in systems of coffee. I'm like, man, like, maybe this could be a delivery unit. Or if nothing else, just guys having fun. Dude, I've done it. I don't know. It's a huge liability. You know insurance, and you know what I'm up against there.
Yeah.
So
just don't tell anybody you're doing it.
I know, right? So like it's literally, but I've done it before, and I'm just like, man, this doesn't feel safe. So but I just kept running it down, and I was like, man, like our guys could genuinely have fun doing this, And then I'm like, man, what would it take to actually be a dealer? So call them. They're like, man, you're a coffee shop. We really deal in skateboards and surf shops, and I'm not sure this is gonna work. But then they kind of looked at our social media, kind of our vibe, kind of what we're all about, called me back and was like, this might work. Like, this is kind of crazy. Like, you've got a different thing going on down here. And so, yeah, through that, just opened up the doors, and we are officially a One Wheel. Actually, I said in the video.
I didn't know if that was public yet or not.
Yeah. So I said in the video, this is our first, we're the first dealer in Mobile. That's not accurate. We're actually the first dealer in Alabama.
Nice.
So my rep called me. She watched the video and was like, hey, love it, but you made an incorrect statement. She's like, you're actually the first in the state. I was
awesome.
Like, yes. And so anyway, we have them here. We've been riding them around. Bradley didn't break his shoulder. Word of warning, respect the wheel. When you don't respect the wheel, you're going to get eaten. So I literally just went and picked up one of my boards. A friend of mine rode it, broke his clavicle. Another friend of mine broke his shoulder. Another friend of mine busted out both of his knees. And he had to get surgery and like tore an ACL. I mean, it's a mess, right? And so, but those are all guys that are really good, and they just were pushing the limits, and they're hitting like 22 miles an hour, and then they flip the thing, and so anyway. So if you respect it, if you respect it, wear some gear. It really can be a lot of fun. But I don't know, man. So
cool.
But I've been selling a ton of them. So I told my team.
Have you been selling a lot?
Yes, dude. Like I'm loaded up.
What do they cost?
Okay, the pints are $950, and the XRs, which you're riding, are $1,800.
Okay.
Wait, so it's not cheap.
Yeah.
Dude, people are I mean, it's crazy how many I sold 2 today. I was on the phone driving here and was like, hey, I want 2 pints. So that's like literally I've almost sold out of my pre-order because the pints they can't make fast enough. And so anyway, it's this whole thing, but
that's awesome.
It's crazy, dude. So but I told my team, I said, please don't think I'm arrogant enough to think that this is going to be the thing, or this could be the newest fad for 6 months, and we might not sell anything.
Yeah.
So the only thing I would do there, I'd get out of my contract with One Wheel because I can't sell online. I would dump them on eBay, make my money back, and move on. And so I was just like, it's a fun thing to do for now. If it doesn't work, we'll adjust. If it does work, it's cool. So far, it's been working, though.
Well, it's it's like with us. I mean, we have clients we do marketing for.
Right,
we're
for
an
sure.
insurance agency.
Yep,
But it's just one of those little value adds to add on.
But you've got the brains to do it.
I don't know about all that. But so last thing, this is the weekly dose of positivity. Talk about maybe a difficult time that you had either in life or in business where staying positive was the difference maker.
I love it. And I love that we're on this week. If you'd asked me this question last week, I'd have had a ton. Trust me. This week was but this week's different. This week was a very, very intense week for us. We had a little feedback, and I'm just gonna be open and honest. This may get a lot of negatives, but it's okay. I want people to know like the struggles of business, So I was telling you before the show, before we hit record, this week was a little different because we sold at a school, doing a school fundraiser and all that stuff. Got a call from a mom who was very concerned about her kid buying a drink. He ordered the drink correctly, got the drink correctly. Had 3 shots of espresso, so she was a little concerned, and I was like, does your kid ever drink Coke? Like, it's about the same caffeine content. Like,
was he like wigging out or just
no? Like, but she was just mad that he was able to buy that, and so
it's definitely not.
So
his fault.
So what I should have said was right, yeah. So that's a whole parent.
Yeah.
We'll go off on that later.
We'll go on that helicopter later.
Yeah, dude, literally, because that's gonna get me more comments. So but I understand the concern. I appreciate the concern. What I probably should have said in hindsight, I've never had that call before. So what I should have said was, oh, you're totally right. You know what? We'll look at our policy when we sell for schools. Maybe we'll just do 16 ounces and we'll just have 2 shots or less or whatever, you know? So
Not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea. So but I'm not a PR person, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very blunt with people. Yeah. And so what I ended up telling her, I was like, it's not as much caffeine as you think. I was like, look, basically I was like, look, my 3-year-old drinks a shot of espresso and I mean, dude, it was over. And that's what you see me quoted on right now on Facebook and people. So she kind of started a rant. And then everyone started commenting, but then all of our customers started jumping on, and it kind of got nasty a little bit, you know?
But that's good that they can come to your defense. Like
dude, everybody, we were silent, like completely silent, and everybody jumped on this bandwagon, and which is kind of crazy, you know? I mean,
back to culture, did you have a conversation with the employees and say, nobody jump on this?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Dude, I'm not worried about it. I'm like, call the store, man. Like, fine. I probably should have, but like, we don't have a game plan for when it hits the fan, because we've never had it hit the fan. Like, well, dude, it's
crisis management.
Yeah, it's a cup of coffee. You know, I'm like, dude, I've never in my life thought that we would do this. You know, like, so anyway, but it was a very like, it's tough, man. When you're under the gun and people are writing quotes about you and telling other people how disrespectful you were on the phone and how you were so arrogant and made them feel so terrible and like all this stuff that wasn't. I was on speakerphone, dude. Like I was on speakerphone. My wife was right there. She was like, "You were not." You know what I mean? So like. It's tough, man, and not to comment back and get in it like, oh, yeah, like, so, like, out of all of that, so the mom finally took all of her comments down. Like, she pulled it down because it was just too much. People were just piling on, and she's like, oh, man. Dude, so my response could have been, that's right, you know, like, ha, gotcha. You know what I mean? Like, that could have been the response. Dude, I honestly, what I wanted to do is I wanted to shoot a video that said, number one, thank you guys for standing with us, and thank you for everything you've said. But what I wanted to say was, like, guys, to your point, like be kind, you know, be kind, be positive, because we've all said things that we didn't mean, and we've all been a little emotional about things, you know, and so through everything, and I know she pulled everything down, but next time you see her at Walmart, just be kind, or next time you see her post something else, be kind, you know, and so I literally wanted to say that because, man, love and kindness are going to trump drama and you know what I mean? Just, negativity any day of the week. And so that was literally what I wanted to say. I didn't do it because, one, I didn't have time. But, like, but again, I didn't want to kind of, like, rehash the conversation, you know? So I'm going to tell it on your podcast because we're 2 weeks out and nobody cares anymore. I mean, no one cares now.
Yesterday's news.
Yeah, right. Literally, it's 3 days. But that was it's difficult, man. Like, when the news is calling you, like, we're running the story, it's going to look bad on you. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's crazy, you know? But, like, man, positivity and just keeping your head down. Because you know what we did the next day?
What's that?
We made coffee.
Yeah.
We got up, we gave amazing customer service, and we made a product, and we made people feel great, and we served them what they ordered, and we did it fast, and we did it as life-giving as we could and as friendly as we could. And, like, that's what we did.
And the thing is, too, is, like, one thing that my wife has etched into my brain, too, is you never know what somebody's going through.
You don't.
She could have got some horrible news the day before, and that was manifesting itself into the way she acted.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what we try to do, you know, being in the insurance business. I mean, almost no one is at their best when they're dealing with their insurance agent.
Sure.
So you just have to give a little bit of empathy and be like, look, you know, that person's dealing with, there's no telling what they're dealing with.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like you have to just understand that. So
empathy is a good word.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
So that's still fresh off the, like, I still haven't processed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I kind of batch it and I just don't have time.
When people are talking. I mean, I had something very, very minute compared to that with me recently where, you know, a customer took something that I said 6 years ago.
Wow.
Completely out of context.
When young Bradley was running around?
And it resurfaced in a Facebook group where someone was asking me for a quote and somebody, don't go with that guy. This is and essentially what it was is it was a mistake that an agent made before I worked for the company.
Wow.
I just so happened to be the person that caught it.
Wow.
And I apologized on behalf of that agent.
That's crazy.
They took my apology as if me saying I did something wrong, and so it for like a half a day. Very rarely does stuff bother me online. Yeah, I'm thick. Sure, I like it. Totally. I like people hating on me. I like. I love giving. I give it back. But when it's something like when somebody's like your reputation and like and there was no reason for the person to do it other than they just wanted to sabotage a sale. For me, which was and so like I on a minute level understand.
Dang, so that's crazy.
Yep. Cool.
That's really
well, guys,
wild.
this was the first episode of the Weekly Dose of Positivity. Really appreciate you coming on, Jeff.
Hey, man,
There's
absolutely.
literally no better person. Nice.
Check it out.
Literally no better person for the first episode. We're going to try to do one of these every week. Stay tuned.
You're going to hate me for using this
I
music.
know. Now I'm going to have to buy one.
You guys are amazing. See y'all later.
Thanks. Oh, that was good.
That was fun.